is on the area of domestic work. Karibu sana. Karibuni. Karibuni, kuna vitu. Eneo lingine ambalo linaongoza kwa kuwanyonya wahanga wa usafishaji haramu ni eneo la ngono, na hili inatokana na ukweli kwamba kuna ongezeko kubwa sana la biashara ya ngono duniani. Sawa, kuna ongezeko kubwa sana. Another area of exploitation is in sex industry. There is a high need of sex workers in the world today. Sawa, and these people who are exploiting girls in sex industry are making a lot of money. According to the US report on trafficking, ending June 2021, if you read at page 36 of that report, it tells you that human trafficking is a third most lucrative criminal enterprise in the world. It is preceded by drugs trafficking and illegal arms dealing. And those who are making this, those who are committing these crimes are reported to make more than $150 billion per year. According to the US report ending June 2021, these people are making more than $150 per year. Sawa. Wanaofanya hii biashara wanatengeneza fedha za Kimarekani zaidi ya dola bilioni 150 kwa mwaka. Kwa hiyo ni watu wenye pesa nyingi sana. These are people with money. Sawa, hawa ni watu ambao wana fedha nyingi sana. Kwa hiyo ili kukabiliana na biashara hii sasa, tunahitaji, ni lazima nchi husika ambazo ni wahanga wa biashara hii waweke nguvu kubwa ambayo ina uwezo wa kuwazuia wale wanaonufaika na biashara hii wasifanye hiyo biashara. Sawa waheshimiwa? Tuko pamoja Sasa tuzungumze habari ya biashara haramu. We are talking about human trafficking. How do you establish a crime of human trafficking? What are the constituting elements of this crime? Ni namna gani sasa tunaweza tukasema kwamba huu ni usafirishaji haramu wa binadamu? Cha kuwakumbusha ni kwamba human trafficking is a criminal offense. Pamoja na kwamba tumeelezea sura zake zote, being a human rights issue, being a security issue, being a social cultural issue, etc. Human trafficking is a criminal offense. Mwaka 2000, in 2000, the international community came together and deliberate to enact an international legal instrument criminalizing human trafficking in all its forms. Sawa, kuna sheria ilipitishwa inaitwa UN Convention Against Transnational Organized Crimes. Umoja wa Mataifa walivyokutana walipitisha azimio la kuanzisha hiyo sheria, the UN Convention Against Transnational Organized Crimes. Sawa? This convention, for it to be effective, it was supplemented by 3 main protocols. Ikabidi zitengenezwe itifaki 3. Sawa? Ilibidi zitengenezwe itifaki 3 za kuipa nguvu huu mkataba wa kimataifa. Sawa? Itifaki ya kwanza ni itifaki ya kupambana na usafirishaji, pambana na magendo ya wanadamu. Sawa? The protocol to prevent smuggling of immigrants by land, air and sea. Ya pili ikawa ni ya kuzuia biashara ya usafirishaji haramu wa binadamu. The protocol to prevent, suppress and punish trafficking in persons, especially women and children. The Palermo protocol isainiwa mji unaitwa Palermo kwa Italia. Ndio maana napenda kuitwa Palermo. Na ya tatu ni protocol ya kuzuia usafirishaji wa haramu wa silaha. Protocol to prevent illegal arms dealing. Sasa sisi discussion yetu tutajikita kwenye hiyo Palermo protocol kwa sababu ndio mahususi kwa ajili ya usafirishaji haramu wa binadamu. Sasa when this protocol was enacted, states were called upon. Sawa? States were called upon to ratify and commit themselves to the 4 Ps partner that was established in that. Sawa. Kwa hiyo nchi zilitakiwa zitunge sheria za kuhakikisha wanakidhi kile kilichowekwa kwenye sheria ya kimataifa. Sawa. Tanzania ratified the Palermo Protocol in December 2006, and that ratification had no any reservation. Sawa, mwaka 2006 sisi tulikubaliana na ile sheria ya kimataifa, tuliidhinisha ile sheria ya kimataifa. We did ratify the protocol. Sasa kwa mujibu wa katiba ya nchi yetu, according to our constitution, for any international law to apply in our jurisdiction, that law must be tabled in parliament for discussion. Must be tabled, deliberated upon, and enact a local legislation to that effect. Mkiangalia katiba ya Jamhuri ibara ya 63, ibara ndogo ya 3, ibara ya 63 of Constitution, Article 63, sub Article 3 of our Constitution. Sawa, it says where an international instrument has been ratified, it must be domesticated by an act of parliament. Sawa, sheria ya kimataifa inapokuwa imeridhiwa ni lazima itungiwe sheria ya bunge. Mwaka 2008, in 2008, having ratified the international instrument in 2008, our legislature enacted the Anti-Trafficking Persons Act number 6 of 2008. Mwaka 2008 tulitunga sheria za kupambana na biashara hiyo. Sheria namba 6 ya mwaka 2008. Sawa. Sasa hii sheria tuliyotunga ilichukua mfumo wa ile sheria ya kimataifa. The state obligation to combat trafficking is established under Palermo Protocol. Kiangalia Article 5 of the Palermo Protocol. Sawa sawa. Na hiyo article imeintroduce mfumo wa kupambana na biashara hii kwa P4. You have a 4 P's paradigm in human trafficking prevention and control. P ya kwanza inaitwa prevention of trafficking. P ya pili ni prosecution of trafficking. P ya tatu ni protection of victims of trafficking. Na P ya nne ni partnership, kwamba lazima kuwe na mashirikiano kati ya interstate agencies, the private sectors and the other stakeholders. Sasa waheshimiwa, kwa hiyo tunavyopambana na usafirishaji haramu wa binadamu lazima tujikite kwenye P ngapi? P4. Sawa, lazima tujikite kwenye P4 katika kupambana na biashara ya usafirishaji haramu wa binadamu. Na usafirishaji haramu wa binadamu pase, ili ujue usafirishaji haramu wa binadamu ni nini, unaenda hii sheria tuliyosema, sheria ya nchi, kifungu cha 4 cha sheria hii, sawa, ambacho kimetokana na ibara ya 3 ya hii sheria ya kimataifa. The international accepted definition of trafficking is provided under Article 3 of the Palermo Protocol, which has been domesticated through Section 4 of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act number 6 of 2008, the Tanzanian law. Sawa, hii sheria inaanzisha elements tatu. The law provides 3 constituting elements for one to establish a crime of human trafficking. Article 3 of the Palermo Protocol, Section 4 of the Anti-Trafficking Persons Act. Those elements are the act. The act means an overt act. What has been done. Okay? You look at what has been done. Sawa. The second element is the means. How have it been done? The means, okay? How have it been done? And the last element is the purpose. For what purpose has it been done? The purpose is always exploitation. You recruit a victim for purposes of exploitation, and there are different ways of exploitation. Okay? Kama tulivyosema, si ndio? Kwa ukisoma Section 4 ya Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act utapata hizo elements. Sawa. Sasa, we as NGO people, where do we fall in those 4 P's? Where do we fall in those 4 P's? The prevention, the prosecution, the protection, and the partnership. Where do we fall?
Partnership.
We fall in the partnership.
Protection.
Yes. Protection, partnership, prevention. We fall in all P's. Yes. We literally fall in all P's. On the aspect of prevention, through capacity building programs, the NGOs which are doing capacity building programs. One of them is us, the Tanzania Relief Initiatives. That's also what the Tanahute envisions. That's what we want to do. We do awareness raising. Okay? Through awareness raising programs, you help to prevent the commission of the crime in one way or another. Okay? Through research and publications, giving facts and figures, demonstrating the magnitude of the crime, might be very fundamental towards policy reforms, policy and legal reforms, which might ultimately lead to the prevention and control of the commission of human trafficking crimes. Sidio? Prosecution. Do we have a role in prosecution? Through crime reporting. Sidio? According to the amendments to the Anti-Trafficking Persons Act, which were passed in October this year, October 2021, through the Written Laws Miscellaneous Amendments Number 5 Act of 2021, the crime reporting obligation has been imposed to each and every citizen. Anyone who will see or who will hear that the crime of human trafficking is about to be committed or has been committed has a duty to report, okay? Before the amendment, that duty was given to a victim of the crime. Only the victim had that duty. But we pressed for the amendments, we pushed the agenda, and ultimately that was amended. And that is what is provided by our procedural laws. The Criminal Procedure Act, which is the parent procedural criminal instrument in this country. So we have a role to play in prosecution. Mmesikia kesi iliyotokea Mwanza, the Jews. We have heard about the Mwanza case. Si ndio? Mwanza ni moja ya mikoa ambayo imenufaika sana na mafunzo ambayo tunayatoa sisi kama RTI kwa kushirikiana na wadau wetu. Sawa? Mwanza has been one of the regions that have benefited from some trainings that we have been offering. So we are glad that we are now seeing the actions. Sawa? Amekamatwa mama ambaye ni mtumishi wa Mungu, kwa mujibu wa maelezo ya jeshi la polisi, ambaye amehusika na kusafirisha viumbe wangapi? 149. Can you imagine? Amekamatwa akisafirisha viumbe 149 watoto. Sasa yawezekana mtu wa NGO alitoa taarifa, hivyoona pale. Crime reporting is very critical to crime prevention. Kwani lazima tutoe taarifa tunapoona uhalifu unatokea. Na inapotokea kama vile, wajibu wetu mwingine ni nini? Ni lazima tuna wajibu wa kuhakikisha kwamba haki inatendeka. Kuna issues za legal aid. Anapokamatwa mtuhumiwa, kwanza moja kabisa, sheria inasema apelekwe, uchunguzi ufanyike na hatakiwi kupata dhamana. Ile ni kosa ambalo tolewi dhamana. Kwa mujibu wa kifungu cha 148 kifungu kidogo cha 5 cha CPA, hatakiwi kupata dhamana. Na anatakiwa apelekwe mahakamani haraka sana. Watakapopelekwa mahakamani, hao wahanga wanatakiwa kupewa hifadhi na ulinzi kamili. Sawa? Kuna hizi habari za nyumba salama. Lazima wa identify nyumba salama ziko wapi, wapelekwe huko. Hawa ambao ni watoto, tumeona kuna watoto wa miaka 4 mpaka miaka 17. Lazima wawepo afisa ustawi wa jamii ambaye atakuwa sambamba na wao. Kuwapa ile psychosocial support. Si ndio? Yeah. Kuwapeleka hospitali wachunguzwe, waone. Hapo ni baada ya kufanya needs assessment, waone short term needs, mid term needs na long term. Inawezekana wamebakwa, want to make sure kingono. Wanahitaji tiba, ile tiba ndani ya saa 72. Wanahitaji legal aid, kuwakilishwa, kusaidiwa kisheria. Baada ya kesi kuamuliwa, wanatakiwa wapewe fidia kwa muda wote waliochezewa kwa muda wote ambao wamepitia mateso. Sheria inasema lazima wapewe fidia, si ndio? Sasa wewe kama mwana NGO una role ya play katika kuhakikisha kwamba haki kwa wahanga inapatikana na haki jinai kwa yule aliyefanya vitendo hivyo inapatikana, ili liwe somo na fundisho kwa wengine wanafanya makosa ya namna hiyo au wanaotazamia kufanya makosa ya namna hiyo. Sawa. Nafurahi tuko na ndugu zetu waandishi wa habari ambao wanatusaidia kupush pia hii jumbe za namna hii katika jamii, ili jamii ijue ukubwa wa tatizo la namna hii. Ndugu zangu, watoto wanateswa katika namna mbalimbali. Wanatumikishwa kingono, sawa. Walemavu wanachukuliwa, wanatumikishwa kama ombaomba, sawa. Watoto wanatumikishwa kwa kazi za ndani bila hiari yao, na takwimu tunazo, sawa. Wanatumikishwa kama ombaomba. Wengine wanauawa, wanatolewa viungo vya binadamu. Nasikia habari ya Arusha na kijana aliondolewa macho, kaondolewa ubongo, alikuwa na kipara, kufikiria kwamba kwa mujibu wa mila potofu kwamba hiyo inasaidia kuleta utajiri. Halikadhalika Mbeya. Nasikia Uganda ile binti aliyepelekwa Uarabuni akarudi bila figo. I'm trying to explain about the forms of exploitation. So victims of exploitation, domestic servitude, domestic exploited as sex workers, organ removal, which has been very common nowadays, forced begging. Have you heard about the cases of forced begging?
Yes.
Yeah, they're exploited in those settings, etc. So we, as stakeholders, we have a critical role to play. We have critical role to play. Not only are we supposed to provide care services to victims, but also we have a role to play in awareness raising. We have a role to play in crime reporting. We have a role to play in providing legal aid for those who are legal aid services. We have a role to play to ensure that the rights of victims of human trafficking are at the center of criminal justice system. Sasa waheshimiwa, the provision of service, the prosecution of human trafficking crimes should be trauma-informed and victim-centered. Sasa, traditional approach ya crime prevention ni kumpunish perpetrator of crime. Sawa, traditionally huwa wakitokea kosa kama hilo, wamekamatwa watuhumiwa, wanapelekwa mahakamani, wanashtakiwa, biashara inaishia pale. Hatuwaangalii wahanga. We don't look at the victims. We don't look at the post-traumatic stress disorders that these people have went through. We don't look at the psychology of these victims. We don't care about the aftermath of these victims who have been exploited for more than 20 years, for more than 10, for 4 or 5 years. Victims whose dreams has been shattered apart. Promises broken and dreams shattered. How do we recompense? There is no way you can recompense them, but at least the law have provided for minimum standards of how to deal with these victims. Sawa. And that goes to the last P, the protection. The third P, the protection. Protection presupposes the 3 R's. Sawa. Napozungumzia protection, kuna R tatu tunaziangalia. Rescue of victims of human trafficking. And rescue involves a lot of other services, psychosocial support, rehabilitation, family tracing, reintegration, etc., etc. The second R is rehabilitation, rescue, rehabilitation, and reintegration. Those are some of the Those are
the third R is
reintegration. The reintegration. Rescue, rehabilitation, reintegration.
Also, if you allow some intervention, I have a question. What is the language outlined within the law for the case, or by the way you use compensation? Is it compensation or is damage?
If you read section 15 of the Anti-Trafficking Persons Act, section 15, it uses the word compensation. It says in administration of criminal justice to victims of human trafficking, in addition to the sentence or fines prescribed by the law, the trial magistrate or judge shall, okay, not may, shall provide compensation to the victim of human trafficking. I think
Is
I have
there
this
any
one.
schedule, additional question, is there any schedule for the minimum rate to pay for that?
No. That's case by case basis.
By case basis.
Yeah, so it will be coming
You have any precedent
by
from
the case.
recent cases?
Wait, 1 minute.
Okay.
So let me bring the
Has organized a training
ready for us is section 15 of this law.
Thank you, Master.
What does it say?
Section?
Section 15.
Section 15. The victim protection principles. Victim protection principles.
No, that's not section 15.
Section 15.
That's not.
For the purpose of this regulation, the victim.
No. That's I can see where you are. That's not section 15.
Isn't?
Yeah. Sure, section 15.
Okay. I was rushing to the regulations.
What?
Compensation.
Compensation.
I get it now.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah,
read.
good. Compensation. Section 15, subsection 1.
Yes.
A person convicted of the offense of trafficking in persons under this act shall be ordered by the court to pay compensation to the victim of the trafficking in persons.
Thank you. Shall be ordered by the court to do what?
To pay compensation to them.
So compensation is a legal right of a victim of human trafficking according to the law. So what was your next question?
As an addition, is there any precedent recently?
We have no any precedent. For the cases that have been decided in our jurisdiction, there have been no any order of compensation.
Thank you.
There have been no any order of compensation, but also the way they are prosecuted, the sentences have not been carrying with that provided by the law. That's why we are putting much more efforts to train these enforcement officers to ensure the law is administered accordingly.
In that circumstances, so we need to add more people to the NGO that can access the court registries and peruse those files. If we get judgments that the offenders has been punished or sentenced to jail or to spend their time in jail or in prison, but no compensations. So we need to find those victims and
We are
civil cases and hold civil case for them.
Not the civil cases. You don't need to hold the civil. You can hold the civil case, but you can appeal, asking for the court to issue compensatory orders
to rectify the judgment.
Yes.
Okay.
the conviction should be pronounced along with the compensatory orders.
Very good. Correct.
Okay?
Thank you.
I'm just thinking of a scenario, for example, the one we have right now in Mwanza.
Yes.
Of course, it's not done yet, but I'm just thinking of a situation whereby someone is involved in trafficking about 150 victims, and if found guilty and compensation is ordered, probably this person can be able to compensate all these people. Unless probably the compensation is just too little, which probably cannot bring back the victim to a certain order. So I'm just thinking that probably may have something to do if we take it as a case study, whereby now a victim has to be compensated, but I mean the operator probably has been jailed for several years and probably he doesn't have enough estate probably to be auctioned, to be given to court broker so that the victims can be paid. And there is a time factor.
Okay.
Sometimes in court they say you pay this after you finish your term. Now this person has been jailed for 25 years, for example. Now the victims are waiting for the sentence to finish so that they are compensated for 25 years to come. Those who are kids, by now they are adults, probably they are dreams of each other. So I'm just thinking that there may be something to think about in the future.
That is a very, very good question
tricky, actually.
and a very, very important concern. That's one of the areas where we recommended for reforms before the amendment of this law. We had actually recommended that instead of relying on the victim being compensated by the perpetrator of the crime, there should be a special compensation scheme. We have like in other countries, that's how it is done. It is done. There are special compensation schemes whose money is derived from the budget of the parliament, but also upon forfeiture of the proceeds of the crimes. When those proceeds of the crimes are realized, then they are taken to the special compensation scheme. For instance, in our law, the Trafficking Persons Act and the Proceeds of the Crime Act, where a criminal like the suspect we're talking about, the case of Mwanza, if found guilty, all the proceeds of the crime, all the riches and fortunes she had made out of trafficking will be forfeited, and the money taken to the anti-trafficking fund. So part of that money may be used to compensate the victim. Okay, but that has not been the practice. The fund that we have never received the budget from the parliament. It has no budget. So all anti-trafficking activities depends on the aids from donors, from NGOs like we are doing, etc., etc. So that may be a very good area to push an agenda of reforms to ensure we have the anti-trafficking fund, which is loaded with monies, and the victims' compensation does not be paid on the trafficker.
And there should be, in line with that, Council, there should be a more of a true compensation, not just in value money, but we need, if the children, to ensure that the government have its into department which ensure those children have access to education and other development aids or projects that can the victim can depend on their life. Yeah.
Once you read the GN 27, the anti-trafficking persons regulations, which deals with the protection of victims of human trafficking, it has specific provisions for that. It provides for that once victims of human trafficking have been rescued and referred to care, based on their age, their talent, and their aspirations, they should be given training. If it is education in the formal schools, if it is vocational training based on their interest, if it is computer, if it is sewing, if it is any other kind of vocation, they should be given those trainings, and upon graduation, they may be integrated with their families, or if their families cannot be traced, or in any case they are not fit to receive the victim, then the victim can stay in the jurisdiction of that country and integrate as other citizens and be given access to all the available resources that will enable for his mental and physical development. So we as NGO members, we have the duty to make sure that that is complied with. That's why we have safe houses. Stephen and Joe are doing a good job. DMY, like your headers, are doing a very good job in that. We are doing a good job in that. So what we need is to put more efforts. Okay, work together with the government to ensure the rights of victims are upheld throughout the criminal justice process. Okay?
Yeah, let's proceed.
Any other emerging issue? Yes.
Now, these victims have been recovered. Right now, what is happening to them? Are they getting any medical assessment, psychological assessment, and are the families also getting prepared to receive them? Because the kids, when you talk about their trauma, PTSD,
Yes.
there's going to be a lot of difficulties at families. That's what we've found. And then if witchcraft is involved as well, there's so many psychological, spiritual issues that concern me if there's no resources for steps for helping them back to the reintegration process.
That's right. Once the victims have been rescued and the case is initiated at the stage of investigation, victims are referred to the safe houses for care and protection services. Now in Mwanza, we have several safe houses. Yeah, I think if it is not Otesawa, they either take them to Otesawa or Kyohede. Those are the most famous in Mwanza. There are any other safe house? Yeah, I think those are the most famous. We need to find out. We are going to follow up with the ATS to know where those victims have been referred. Although it's always encouraged that where the victims are referred should be confidential for their safety.
Yes.
Again, once they have been referred in the safe house, it's the safe house, they are social workers, they do needs assessment to identify those short-term needs, those mid-term needs, and long-term needs. Then they are taken to the one-stop centers. If the medical intervention is needed, if one has been molested, been left, yes?
Counselors.
Yes, counselors, exactly. So they are given service based on the situation that they have. But again, before family tracing and reintegration, these victims are needed as witnesses in court. Okay? They are first witnesses. They are needed for testimony in the court. So once they have given their testimonies, sometimes their statements are taken, testimonial evidence may be taken by statement because the evidence so allows. So once the family tracing has been done successfully and they are ready to receive the kids, then they are reintegrated with their families. But we will follow up to know the status. Okay? Sasa kwa mujibu wa sheria tuzungumze machache ili twende tukapata juisi kidogo, wengine wachache tuzungumze na vyombo vya habari kusema mambo mawili matatu. Waruhusu waende tuendelee. Nahitaji nizungumze hili. We have the law, okay? And according to that law, read for us section 4 subsection 5. What does it say? Let's look at the punishment for those who commit the crime of murder. Section 4 sub 5.
Section 4, subsection 5, Council, you read is sports. A person who commits any of the offences or acts specified under this section shall, on conviction, be liable to a fine of not less than 5 million shillings, but not more than 100 million shillings, or to imprisonment for a term of not less than 2 years and not more than 10 years, or to both.
Have you heard about the punishment? A fine not less than 5 to 100 million.
And not less than
5,
5
not more
million
than
shillings
100.
and not more than 100.
Or the imprisonment not less than?
2 years and not more than 10 years,
Yes.
or both.
Okay, that's a crime of trafficking in persons. Go to section 6, subsection 5. Read the punishment under that section.
Section 6, subsection 5.
Yes.
There is no subsection 5.
Subsection 4?
There is subsection 4.
Okay, read
Okay.
subsection 4.
Council, read it first. A person who commits an offence of this section shall, on conviction, be liable to a fine of not less than 5 million shillings, but not more than 150 million shillings, or to imprisonment for a term of not less than 10 years, but not more than 20 years or more.
20 years or more.
Yeah.
You see?
Yes.
So, under section 1, under section 4, that is a crime of trafficking in persons. It involves trafficking of adult people. That's why even the sentencing fines are a bit lower. But under section 6 sub 4, the offense is called severe trafficking in persons. Acts which constitute severe trafficking in persons, one of them is trafficking in children. Okay? If the trafficking is involving children, then that is severe trafficking in persons. And the punishment is 5 million to 150 million. That's the maximum fine, 150. Or the sentence of 10 years, and maximum is 20
Yes.
years. Maximum sentence for severe trafficking persons is 20 years. We were badly concerned with these punishments. And among the recommendations for reforms was alteration of these punishments. Why? Because first, the law provides for an option of fine in lieu of punishment. And according to sentencing guidelines in Tanzania, where the law provides for an option between a fine and sentence, the judge or magistrate will always go for fine. We have seen that these people are earning a lot of money, more than 150 million USD per year. The law provides for a fine of 5 million to 150 million. Will the trafficker pay those fines? He will pay, he will always pay. But again, the maximum sentence of 20 years, that is against the proportionality test, which the law recommends. Just imagine a situation where a child has been recruited for purposes of sexual exploitation. She has been raped, she has been fired, she has been arrested, she has acquired HIV in the process, she has died in the process. Then you say you convict that person for a term of 20 years. That's even inconsistent with the other crimes of similar gravity. For instance, rape. Looking at section 130 of the Penal Code, the minimum sentence for rape is 30 years imprisonment. 30, that's minimum. Maximum is imprisonment. In Kenya, trafficking in persons, minimum sentence for trafficking in persons is 30 years. Kenya. Maximum life, just as it is the case for rape in our country. So there is also a high need of doing the alteration. Remove the option of fine, the fine should be in addition to sentence. Okay, and the sentence should be severe, such that the traffickers are deterred from committing those crimes. There's no deterrence if the punishments that are prescribed by our laws. Okay. Okay, we should have a healthy break of 5 minutes. We have bananas, we have juice, we have water. Someone who wants coffee, you have coffee, and save yourself. Let's talk. Tuwe na secretariat, watu wachache tuzungumze na media. Waweza chukua watu watano. Sister Uma, Bwana Ngochere.